Hi, this is Gary Kelley. I'm with Remax, and I'm sitting here today with Maribeth McCauley Lynch of Thrive Real Estate in Shrewsbury. And we wanted to talk about what we know today, March 25th, 2020, about showings and whatnot in the coronavirus era. I got a note today from Maribeth, reverse prospecting note, and the end of it brought my eyebrows up, and it was in a good way. It says, we will be employing the safest practices to enable you and your buyer to see this home. And I called her up and I said, okay, what are the safest practices? And we started to have a conversation about it, and we said it might make sense for us to kind of share our thoughts, and because it's a controversial subject within real estate. There are some agents that are saying, I can use hand sanitizer and I can use Lysol and I can go out and I can do everything I need to do. And there are others that are saying you are continuing to spread the plague and it's horrible. And so we're somewhere on the side of let's kind of keep working, but let's have some sense around it. And so we thought it made sense to sit down and chat about what we're seeing as the best practices today. So Maribeth, I appreciate you joining and participating in this conversation.
Wonderful to have this conversation with you, Gary. Thank you for inviting me and for thinking of this as a way to pass on the knowledge and the information that we have and share it so that, lots of minds come up with better ideas than just one.
So I want to talk to you about, how are you doing showings today? And then I want to flip it in a little bit and say, how are you prepping homes today? So that we can have that full gauntlet, because there are some things on prepping homes, like putting the sign in the front yard. I don't know. I don't think that there's anyone at risk when you put a sign in the front yard. That's a little bit different though than going in and maybe staging and moving things around. So as you think about showings, how are you doing your showings today?
So Gary, I first will tell you that the reason I'm out there doing showings is because I have sellers that are requesting that I do it. And I've had a number of clients who have said, if I'm comfortable with it, I'm comfortable. Let's come up with a process, which we've gotten. And we want to market our home during this time because we think there's opportunity. And so I always have felt like if my clients are asking me to do something that is not unethical or illegal, that I should, listen to what they're asking me to do. And in this case, I think, I believe we've set the stage so that everyone can be successful. My sellers might be able to sell their house. Buyers that are interested in buying will be able to gain access to the house. And I think as agents, our job is to just kind of think ahead of ways that we can be valuable and keep the process going. So I would say
I've got a similar situation where I've got a seller that's actually relocating to South Carolina. They've bought a house already down there and they would like to see their house sold. And we can sit and say, don't know when we're gonna, are we gonna really be safe by Easter? What do we really know? Bottom line is they want the house sold. So we put it on the market. So go ahead.
Yeah, it's funny. I've had two sellers in the last week wanting me to put their homes in the market, and the first one is going to South Carolina as well, Gary. So there might be a flee from New England at this point down to South Carolina. But again, I'm just listening to what my clients are asking me to do, and just coming up with ways that we can make it as safe as possible. And we've never been through this before. This is uncharted waters, and so I think it is in our best interest to come up with ways to be successful and allow our clients to be successful.
So this is the house that we're talking about, which the house itself isn't why we're here. I was struck by how nice the pictures came out, etc. But how are you? Let's say that I wanted to show this house today. How could we go about doing that?
So the first thing that we did was I had a long conversation with the sellers, and we talked about what things made sense for us to do ahead of the showing so that everybody would feel safe. And the first thing that came to mind was they are in a position of leaving their door open and either myself or they will go back after the showing and close the door. So first things first, the entryway is going to be open for them, which is great. There's no fumbling for, sanitizer or anything like that. You just walk right into the house. I am leaving sort of a basket, literally a basket outside of, I got my, are you using?
You gotta laugh.
You gotta laugh. I found that this is actually a really good, for those of us in the field that just want something in our car to like grab.
Yep.
Regular old, alcohol will, according to Google, kill most viruses. So that was good news to me. But so we're gonna leave the front door open. We're gonna leave a basket at the door that says, and I actually have it right here if you want me to read it. Basically, it says how to safely view this house. So the basket's going to contain gloves and wipes and hand sanitizer. We're asking everyone to remove shoes, which I've always been a big advocate of. We're a shoeless. Yep. Oh, that's exactly the gloves we're using. Good for you. I've got these cheap see-through gloves, but the black ones, those you can really, you can open drawers. You can, do what you need to do with those. So that's wonderful. We're also leaving all the lights on. So we've gone through and rehearsed which lights should be on, basically every single one of them. And my instructions to the agents are leave the lights on. You got 2 matching ones. That's great. So, leave the lights on. We're also leaving any doors that wouldn't be obvious that people might have the instinct to try to open, like a closet door in a bedroom or maybe a linen closet. We're leaving those ajar so that people, and I say in here, push the door with your foot and then push it back to the original position. That's how clear I'm being in my instructions. So that again, we don't have people touching. And then I say, if you touch anything, please wipe it down. And also leaving a few windows open for fresh air. Who doesn't believe fresh air can pretty much clear anything out? So we're leaving a couple windows open. We're lucky the temperature's, not too cold. And the other thing I'm doing, Gary, which is different than what I usually do, is I'm not leaving any of my stuff around. I'm not leaving folders with papers in it. We now have the opportunity to attach everything in MLS and to make it public. So I've put the make public button on MLS, and I disclose this. I say seller's disclosure, lead paint, and the list of improvements are attached to MLS. So nobody has to be fumbling for papers.
So the city of Worcester put out some guidelines, and many of them are the same, but they had some additional things. They are suggesting an eyes-only policy for buyers. I did a showing earlier today, and that eyes only was a challenge. They wanted to open up the cabinets and that kind of thing, and you said, please don't. I was there. I was wearing gloves. In this particular case, the seller has asked that I be there for all showings so that people don't run rampant in the house. Yep. They also have this thing of don't let the buyer or the agent use the bathroom.
Yes.
I'm sure you've seen it many times where people come in, they've been out all day, and it's like, you mind if I use the bathroom?
I know.
We're really trying to discourage that. And also the folks that show up with their Starbucks won't be Dunkin' right now. We're saying, please don't bring food into the house. We don't know where it's been. Do you ask your clients if they have recently traveled or otherwise not feeling well?
I feel like the clients I'm dealing with right now, I've been dealing with for a long time, so I really know them. So I pretty much know where they are at every moment of the day because we're realtors and we are in touch with our clients so frequently. I'm half joking about that. The ones in particular I'm dealing with right now, I know I've been with them almost every day, whether it be text. So I know they haven't traveled, but I do think, Gary, that's a really good, that's something I'm going to add to my list because of course that makes a big difference. And how are you feeling is,
I think that we're allowed, and then this gets into what we're allowed to ask. Right. I think we're allowed to ask if they've been traveling or if they're not feeling well, provided we do it to everyone.
Right.
We can't be selective on it. And
right. Yep. Yeah.
If someone comes up to the house and they're sneezing and sniffling, you know, at some point you need to say, I don't know that this is the right time for you. Maybe we should come back a different time. And that's going to be a hard discussion, don't you think?
It is, but you know, somebody reminded me of something yesterday, which makes such sense. I suffer from seasonal allergies,
Me too.
and there have been a couple times in the last couple days where I've sneezed, and I thought, oh God, here we go. And then I realized it's seasonal allergy time, and I'm going to take my Claritin and be happy. So you're also like, if someone sneezes, it's almost like someone sneezes in public, everybody wants to know who that is.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh boy, that's a sneezer, I'm getting away from them. And we have to, because we don't know what we don't know.
The other thing
So,
I'm finding is a lot of people are just freaked out right now. You know, and
yes.
I'm not going to say I'm impervious to it. I get up in the morning, and if I have a little tickle in the back of my throat, maybe because my nose ran overnight, woohoo! It's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And
Got
then
it.
you get into, I'm going to hold my breath for 10 seconds. And if I can do it without coughing, I'm okay. I'm still counting.
I ran from my basement all the way up to my second floor with laundry. And I got to the second floor and I was like, oh my God, I think I'm out of breath. Like, do I have it? You know, we get paranoid, and I think that's human nature. But I also think that as realtors, the economy to a large degree revolves around what we do every day. And there is, what's the stat? There's a stat that I don't want to even repeat because I don't remember the number, but for every house we sell, there's so many people that get a financial boost from us doing our job. And, you know, the painters, the electricians, the, you know, alarm people, you name it, they're all receiving business from us. So to some degree, I think we have a responsibility to be safe and to be on top of all the news and to be watching and listening to everything that's coming out from Mass Association of Realtors, National Association of Realtors, our regular boards, having good conversations with other agents in the fields that we know. So we have to do that, but we also have to be calm and careful that we don't make the panic that's not really needed. And that's why I'm kind of continuing to do business as usual.
Well, I think that's important. I think it's in both of our natures to try to look at things and take a humorous or lighthearted, whatever the right term is, view of it.
Yep.
But people are dying. This is
I know.
serious. And you know that, I know it. We're, you know, at the same time, the client that says, I'm moving, I've got to sell this house, I can't afford two houses.
Yep.
You know, that's different. And I need to point out to the agent that's out there saying, sell today because you don't know what tomorrow's going to look like. I don't like that. They should be
Me
strict.
either. That's right. We'll let them know what we think.
No, but I think that's important because that's not what I'm doing, and I suspect it's not at all what you're doing.
No, no.
So, are you doing listing appointments by video at this point?
Well, I haven't had a listing appointment in the last few days. The last one I had, I can tell you exactly when it was. It was face-to-face, March 11th. And if you go back in time and look at the timeline, March 12th was when the world came to an end, basically. So I was sitting at someone's dining room table on March 11th, and we made the determination, we're going to get this on. We're feeling good about, you know, what the economy looks like. The competition is really slim right now. We might have an opportunity to get the house sold. So that was the last person-to-person meeting that I've had.
Yep.
I have to say, today, I mentioned it to you before we got on the Zoom call, I've had 4 or 5 conferences today, not necessarily with clients, but with colleagues, with one client in particular. I think that is the responsible way for us to continue to do business. We just have to rethink how we're doing it. And I don't think meeting in person, for me at least, feels like the right thing.
We've reached out to all of our active clients.
Yep.
And specifically talked about their situation and what do you need, how can we help. We've also reached out to past clients and said, are you okay? Do you need anything? That kind of goes into a different category, but
Yep.
We're having active discussions about, do you still want to do this? Now, we had one client that said, I still want the house on the market. I want it on the market in April, and don't let the handyman into the house and we can't have the place painted. Okay,
Yep.
fine. What you're really saying is you don't want anyone in your house. Therefore, let's talk that through, and that's fine.
Right.
We're not pushing people in any way. How are you prepping a house now? If you have a new listing, how are you going in and doing it? Are you doing anything different today to try to make the house not more saleable, but more visible from the standpoint of technology, et cetera?
So again, uncharted waters here. It's not like we've been doing this for months. We're talking about the last week. How have we changed, how we are doing business? And I have done a virtual staging session with a client who's thinking about getting their house in the market in the next couple of weeks. And so I said to them, listen, let's go through, you just hold your phone up, walk me through your house. And I'm just going to give you pointers as you're showing me about different things that I would change if it were my home. So virtual staging, and I don't mean virtual staging like putting a fake couch in a corner that doesn't have a couch. I mean doing staging via Zoom or Google Hangout calls, so that, because let's face it, as realtors, there's almost no house I can see online that I can't picture being in. So
Right.
I think we have a lot of valuable, guidance that we can give just through a video chat. So that's the way I see things going for now. I mean, let's face it, at some point, we're going to have to walk into these homes, because I don't want to list a home I haven't been in myself. And I'm going to take the pulse of the sellers, but I can tell you that just like we are trying to protect our clients, we're also trying to protect ourselves. We want to be healthy. So the couple times I've been face-to-face with clients, we're doing the, 6 to 8 feet away.
Right.
Even I had a client the other day that said, I'm just going to sit in my dining room and you can wander around. I said, great, that's what I'm going to do. Here's another tip that somebody told me and I loved it. I had a client who did recently travel, and he said he has taken to wearing hoodies because they have pockets. So trying to wear something that has pockets so that you keep your hands in the pockets as you're walking. That way you're not as tempted to, touch things. So
I'm also on my listings. I've made an attempt now to do a Matterport tour on all of them.
Oh,
So that as you go in, and what I'm doing, I'm kind of excited about is, you've seen Matterport tours before where they come in and you can click and you can walk around the house and basically see it.
Yep.
What I'm saying to folks is I need you to go through the Matterport tour before you come see the house. And that's to weed out looky-loos, etc.
Yep.
It's not meant to be high-handed. It's not meant to be nasty. But if you haven't taken the time to go through the house that way, and I just want folks to know, my secret is that I've got a Ricoh Theta V camera, and I'm using Matterport capture software. It's very affordable. When I've done Matterport tours before with the pros, it
Yep.
tends to be hundreds of dollars a house.
Yep.
I'm doing it myself. It takes me about 45 minutes to do a house. Is it as good as the pro? Probably as good as the first generation Matterport, but it's more than adequate. And that's something that instead of costing hundreds of dollars is costing tens of dollars. And to me, it's just a no-brainer, because you want the house, you want people to be able to go through the house, but I don't want people to just wander around like the typical open house where people come in and they just mill about. I'm trying to eliminate that. We're not doing any open houses right now.
No, nor are we for the foreseeable future. And I won't do them until we get, feedback from NAR or MAR or somebody that they think it's safe to do that. So I think for the foreseeable future, open houses are not in our bag of tricks, so to speak. So I think the idea of a Matterport tour, especially the way you're doing it, Gary, is really, really helpful to a consumer. And as I understand it, there are analytics behind the Matterport tour. So you, can't you see how many people have viewed it and all that fun stuff, so that you're able to tell whether it's really a useful tool. So I think that's a no-brainer, and I applaud you for being out front with that. That's really good. And I
Well,
also,
thanks. I try to use technology. I spent most of my career in technology, so I try to use technology not as a propeller head. You could accuse me of that, but
yep,
more to the standpoint of, especially now, how do we get people into a house without endangering the seller,
yep,
the buyer, or the lowly agent?
yeah,
we
yeah. Those
gotta
of
we
us
gotta
who stand
protect
at
everyone.
yeah, yeah. I wonder if, I mean, we've all seen this at open houses. I've seen it many times where, the husband comes in, they're relocating from Mississippi, and he's got his wife on FaceTime, and he's wandering through showing her the house, or she's showing him the house. I would be very tempted if an agent called me and said, I really need somebody to show us this house. I'd be happy to jump on a FaceTime call and walk through.
Right.
And so I think that's a no-brainer as well.
One thought that I had, there's an agent out in Charlton by the name of Jim Black.
Mhm.
He's doing open houses in a different manner now. He's basically going and sitting in the driveway and letting groups of 2 into the house. And you can register for a time. I don't know if they're taking tickets, but there's some way that you actually can go through the house that way. That's an approach. The other approach is Michelle Gillespie out of Northborough. She did a tour last week where it was a Zoom conference, and she's walking around the house and she's talking, and people are able to interact. So, I mean, I think we're all trying to find our way right now.
Right.
And it's not only find what works for the consumer, but it's also what works for us.
Right.
Because not everyone is comfortable hopping on a Zoom call and chatting that way.
That's right. That's right. But I would say that our best resources come from within our industry. And much like you and I are sharing right now, I am so humbled and amazed by how many agents, once you just open yourself up to a conversation, will share best practices, tips. We're all in this together. And if we can all be really good at what we do, the whole industry is going to look good. So, sharing tips about how you're using technology or little ideas that you have, I would invite people to share those rather than hold them back, because I think it's going to help all of us.
Yeah,
So,
I think right now, we're all finding our way. And
yeah,
there are some agents that are, what my word, turtling. They're crawling under their rock and they're not coming out. And if that's what they need to do, I want to respect that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
for others that want to get out and do things, then how do we do it in a way that is safe for everyone
yeah,
and effective? Because if we're just out showing houses with little gadgets and the things aren't selling and we're not getting to the closing table, which is the ultimate goal,
right.
then what are we really doing?
Yeah,
So I think we have to be smart and engaged and stay abreast of the latest news, which, as you pointed out earlier, changes all the time,
right.
and stay on top of it.
Well, I think it does change every minute of every day. And to some degree, I've taken to listening or reading news, first thing in the morning. And I don't do it the last thing before I go to bed, because I would have nightmares, but I do it, maybe 2 hours before I go to bed. And I'm not watching an hour's worth of news. I'm watching, 15 minutes. I love Facebook. I think Facebook is a great way to stay in touch with people you wouldn't ordinarily stay in touch with. I think it's a great tool for us as realtors to use. But I will admit that I have completely ghosted Facebook in the last 3 or 4 days, because it's literally all anybody is talking about. And that's not healthy. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. If you're overindulging in something to the degree that that's all you're thinking and talking about, then there's a problem. And I am an optimist by nature, and there are wonderful things that are happening all around us. The weather's changing. Summer will be here before you know it. Like, there are other things that we need to think about besides coronavirus and how we're going to survive the next month, because we will survive. And when we emerge from it, whenever that might be, I really believe that life gives you bumps so that you can get better, not worse. And I really feel that this is an optimistic time rather than the sky is falling down time. And that's
Well,
just me.
on that note, I think that many people are becoming kinder, gentler. Um,
I think
Maybe
you
it's
said
a
it.
lack of human touch. Let's separate that for a second.
Yep.
But I think that folks are more interested in legitimately and sincerely helping other people. And maybe what comes out of all this, and hopefully we're through it quickly, and hopefully it's by Easter or whenever. I hope that we continue to be focused on people as people, and perhaps a little less as, oh, I got to run. I got a text message I got to respond to now. That's one thing that's coming out of this that I think is good, that I don't think we should try to lose.
Listen, to some degree, this is a reset for all of us. I mean, how many of us have sat at home in the four walls of our house for days on end and not talked to other people? That's, even if you're an introverted realtor, you still talk to a lot of people during the day.
Right.
And there have been a couple days where I thought, all right, I've talked to my husband and my dog and talked on the phone a few times, and that's really it. And I think, in order for us to succeed and get through what we have in front of us, it is incumbent upon us to talk to each other, talk to our clients, have real genuine discussions with them, heartfelt. And to your point, we're not pushing anyone into buying or selling. I know what you're doing.
This is my colleague, Sue. She's working from home today, but we do think about her regularly.
Hi, Sue.
and she's not stuck up, and she's not a pinup girl. These are some of the jokes I've heard.
I love it. Well, I'm glad to have Sue on board, and I bet she's got a lot to say that would be helpful in us understanding the market.
Well, Sue did know that we were doing this, and Sue did want to be remembered to you. So on that note, I think we'll bring this to a close, if that's okay.
Absolutely. And I would say, if what we're doing is helpful, I think let us know. And if other people want to jump on and do their own thing, God bless them. But I want everyone to know that I am wholeheartedly interested in helping anybody, or alternatively, would hope that if I call you and ask you questions, you don't think I'm a creep. I'm just trying to get information so we can all be successful.
Great way to summarize it. Thank you very much.
Great to chat with you, Gary. I really appreciate the opportunity.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.